The gala glimmers with luxury crystal chandeliers. Thank you for watching. If this story touched your heart, please subscribe. Champagne flutes and the hum of New York's elite celebrating power dressed as virtue. Richard Hale stands at the center, basking in applause as he receives his award. Every inch the model billionaire. Cameras adore him, and his speech about honor, family, and responsibility earns teary smiles. Elena, radiant and proud, believes in her father's legacy until she catches two reporters whispering nearby. Their words, hush money and cover-up, slice through the glamour like glass. The applause fades in her mind, replaced by a sickening doubt that something beneath all this perfection is terribly wrong. That night, after the applause has vanished into the Manhattan skyline, Richard's warmth evaporates. In the privacy of their limousine, his voice hardens. He reprimands Elena for missing an important investors' meeting earlier in the week, his expression cold and calculating. Family name is everything, he says, every word sharpened by pride and control. The father who once tucked her in with bedtime stories now feels like a stranger, hiding behind a mask of success. Elena realizes that his love has strings woven from reputation, legacy, and fear. For the first time, she wonders what her father is truly protecting. When Elena reaches her car, exhaustion and confusion swirl inside her. But the unease deepens when she spots a small, unmarked envelope on the driver's seat. Her pulse quickens as she opens it, revealing a flash drive and a chilling note. Everything he built is a lie. Start here. The city lights flicker against the windshield as she stares at the message. Torn between disbelief and dread, she glances up at the towering Hale Industries skyscraper, her father's monument to greatness, and feels her world tilt. The question burns in her chest. What if the man she's always defended is the villain? Elena Hale has lived a life of polished privilege, educated at the best schools, dressed in designer restraint, and trained to smile for the cameras beside her father. Though she holds a degree in architecture, her role at Hale Industries is mostly ceremonial. Her name appears on blueprints and contracts, but decisions are made far above her reach. Behind the marble walls of their penthouse, silence reigns. Her mother, Margaret, moves like a ghost, once vibrant, now subdued by years of Richard's dominance. The Hale family's image gleams for the world, yet their home feels more like a museum than a family. Her only real connection to truth is Noah Clark, a former college friend and investigative journalist whose moral compass once clashed with her loyalty to her father. Years ago, Noah tried to expose Hale Industries for corruption, but abruptly withdrew his article. Something he never explained. Despite that, he remains the one person Elena can still confide in. Their conversations are cautious, filled with what's left unsaid. Where her family offers scripted affection, Noah offers honesty, even when it hurts. Deep down, Elena suspects that his silence about her father's company hides something more dangerous than either of them has admitted. When Elena finally gathers the courage to open the flash drive, her world fractures. The folders contain damning evidence, offshore accounts, fake safety certificates, and doctored permits, all linked to projects under her name. Her signature appears on documents she's never seen. Panic claws at her chest as she realizes the trap. Her father has made her the legal face of his crimes. If the files are real, exposure could destroy not just Hale Industries, but her future. Yet silence means complicity. Between loyalty and justice, Elena stands on the knife's edge, terrified that saving herself might mean destroying her own family. The morning headlines scream: Tragedy, 5 construction workers killed in a site collapse owned by Hale Enterprises. Cameras swarm, condolences pour in, and Richard Hale releases a carefully worded statement about unforeseen structural failures. But when Elena watches the footage, her blood runs cold. The blueprint shown on TV bears her initials EH, the same falsified permit she found on the flash drive. Guilt and dread twist inside her. She knows this isn't an accident. It's negligence covered in gold. As the world mourns, Elena feels the suffocating weight of silence pressing down, realizing her father's empire has blood seeping through its foundations. Unable to bear it, Elena storms into her father's office, her voice trembling with anger and fear. She lays the document on his desk and demands an explanation. Richard doesn't flinch. His composure is terrifying, measured, almost amused. Sometimes sacrifices are necessary to build something great, he says, pouring himself a drink as though discussing a business forecast. The chill in his tone cuts deeper than his words. He doesn't deny the crime. He just justifies it. For the first time, Elena sees the monster behind the mask, the man who believes human lives are acceptable collateral for power and legacy. When Elena threatens to expose him, Richard's smile turns venomous. He reminds her that everything she owns, her degree, her apartment, even her career, exists because of his influence. You don't destroy the hand that created you, he warns softly, a threat cloaked in paternal calm. The truth crashes over her. She's trapped. Every document, every luxury, every piece of her identity ties back to his empire of deceit. The gilded life she's lived is nothing more than a cage made of privilege and fear. In that moment, Elena's admiration dies and something fierce, desperate, and defiant begins to take its place. Determined to expose the truth, Elena turns to Noah in secret. Together, they trace the corruption trail buried beneath layers of forged documents and offshore transactions. Each revelation cuts deeper: fake death certificates, shell corporations masking bribery, and a whistleblower who vanished after accusing Hale Enterprises of fraud. But Richard is always one step ahead. He unleashes private investigators, feeds false stories to the press, and isolates Elena. He convinces her fragile mother that Elena's seeing things again, weaponizing her past insecurities. The line between truth and manipulation blurs, and Elena begins to wonder if she's truly losing control or finally waking up. The pressure tightens like a noose. Elena's accounts are suddenly frozen, her emails inaccessible, and her phone begins echoing proof it's being tapped. She and Noah meet in dark parking lots, whispering over encrypted files. But their partnership grows dangerous. One night, after locating a missing witness tied to the falsified safety reports, Noah is brutally attacked. The message is clear: stop digging. Shaken and furious, Elena rushes home, only to overhear her father telling her mother, "She's my daughter, Margaret. She'll come around." They all do. The words echo in her chest, a chilling confession of how completely he controls them. That night, Elena's breaking point arrives. Surrounded by the silent luxury of her penthouse, she stares at her father's portrait, a symbol of power, of lies, and feels something inside her snap. With trembling hands, she hurls the frame across the room, glass shattering like her illusions. Tears blur her vision, but beneath the heartbreak burns fury. She can't unlove her father, but she can't forgive him either. The man who taught her strength now uses it to destroy her. Amid the wreckage, Elena makes her choice. No more silence. No more fear. She will leak everything and let the world see the truth. Elena's hands shake as she uploads the incriminating files to a public archive, believing the truth will finally set her free. But within hours, the world turns upside down. Richard Hale, ever the master manipulator, appears before flashing cameras, calm, sorrowful, and convincing. He paints his daughter as a troubled young woman battling paranoia and delusion, claiming her accusations stem from a breakdown. Overnight, public opinion shifts. The media brands her unstable. Her friends disappear. And even her mother seems to side with Richard. A warrant for Elena's arrest is issued, branding her not as a whistleblower but as a criminal. The nightmare deepens when Noah is arrested. Accused of cybercrimes and data theft, Elena's only ally is silenced, and whispers surface that he'll never make it to trial. Hunted and desperate, she hides in a rundown motel on the city's edge, replaying every decision that led here. That's when she finds the truth she never expected: the anonymous note and flash drive weren't from an enemy, but from her mother. Margaret, long silent under Richard's control, had been collecting evidence for years, waiting for the right moment. Her quiet resignation was never weakness, it was survival. And now, she's ready to fight. Together, mother and daughter walk into Richard's glass-walled penthouse, the throne room of his empire. Elena confronts him, recording every word. As Margaret stands beside her for the first time in decades, Richard sneers, mocking their attempt, until Elena plays the secret audio. His voice admitting guilt, laughing about the deaths he caused. Within seconds, police sirens wail below, triggered by Noah's final encrypted transmission before his capture. Officers burst in, surrounding him. For once, the great Richard Hale looks small, cornered. As he's handcuffed, he leans close and whispers, "You think you've won? You just destroyed your own name." The fall of Richard Hale is swift and merciless. News outlets dissect every scandal. Investors abandon Hale Enterprises overnight, and his once revered name becomes a global symbol of greed. Elena watches from afar as the empire her father built crumbles to dust, piece by piece. Legally, she's exonerated thanks to her mother's testimony and the evidence that exposed the truth. But vindication feels hollow. Her reputation lies in ruins, her career tainted by association. The life she once knew is gone, replaced by a quiet, uncertain freedom. For the first time, she owns her name not as Hale's daughter, but as herself, determined to turn pain into purpose. Elena invests her inheritance into something meaningful, a foundation called the Hale Truth Initiative, dedicated to protecting whistleblowers and uncovering corruption. The irony of the name isn't lost on her. It's her way of reclaiming what Hale stands for. Margaret, fragile but healing, moves in with her. The walls between them slowly fall. Late-night talks replace years of silence. Laughter returns in small doses, and for the first time, they exist as mother and daughter, not extensions of Richard's shadow. Together, they rebuild, not the empire of lies, but a home grounded in honesty and peace. One gray morning, Elena stands quietly before the graves of the 5 workers who died. The innocent lives her. Father's greed destroyed. She lays white lilies on the soil, her hands trembling, her heart heavy but clear. "I can't undo what he built," she whispers, voice breaking with both grief and resolve. "But I can make sure no one else builds the same way." The wind stirs her hair, carrying away the final remnants of shame. As she walks away, the city skyline glows in the distance, no longer a monument to her father's power, but a promise of her own redemption. Months later, the chaos has quieted. The city hums with its usual rhythm, indifferent yet alive. Elena sits on a park bench overlooking the skyline, a thermos of coffee in her hands. One of the towers that once bore her father's name now stands reborn as the Unity Tower, a symbol of rebuilding, of shared responsibility rather than domination. The sight brings a bittersweet ache to her chest. What was once a monument to deception has become a testament to truth. For the first time, she feels the weight lift, not because the past is forgotten, but because she's finally accepted it. Noah arrives quietly, walking with a slight limp from his ordeal. He sits beside her without a word, offering the kind of companionship that doesn't demand conversation. After a moment, he says softly, "You didn't lose everything, Elena. You just lost what was never real." The words settle between them like sunlight breaking through fog. She exhales, the corners of her lips curving into a faint, knowing smile. The city glows ahead imperfect, resilient, alive. For the first time in years, her reflection isn't tied to her father's shadow. It belongs to her, to the woman who faced ruin and chose truth. As the wind brushes her hair, Elena rises from the bench. Looking once more at the skyline she helped shape, this time on her own terms. Her voice echoes softly in her mind, a closing reflection, not of victory, but of liberation. He built an empire out of lies, but I built my freedom from the truth. The words carry no bitterness, only clarity. She walks away slowly, her silhouette framed by the city lights flickering against the night sky. Each light burns bright, unhidden like her. The world hasn't changed completely, but Elena has. And that, she knows, is enough.